Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Derby game this weekend, and let's face it, is this game just about bragging rights? It is all about telling that lot across the city that this is coming. The 55 is inbound. We're Premier Sports champions and we're also got one foot towards the final in the Scottish Cup. We're going for a domestic treble again. A domestic treble that we've got to keep pinching ourselves, and we have to. Neil Lennon spoke about it, saying the fact that, look, what was unusual in a football sense has now become the norm at Celtic. And that's all down to the current manager, Brendan Rodgers. Whether you like Brendan or not, I know there's some fans out there that still feel that Brendan shouldn't have been back for a second time, even though it is as successful as it is. And he won't be doing walking away. A lot of people said that he'd walk away before the end of his second season. We're getting towards the end of the second season in his 3-year contract, and he's still here and as successful as ever. And he's planning for next season. Celtic need to get his contract situation sorted out before they sort anyone else's out this summer. But there's a massive game this weekend. And is it a massive game, really? It's just a game that is all about bragging rights. Yep, it is about bragging rights. And it's about Celtic fans telling their 2,500 fans that we are the champions. And we are the champions. And we've dominated Scottish football, not just since 2012, since they went into liquidation and died and came back as the new Rangers. And I believe that they're about to come back as another Rangers, 49 Rangers or whatever. But when it comes to it, Celtic have been dominant since 2020. When you look at the amount of titles that we've won over the years, when you look at the trebles that we've won over the years, starting off with Martin O'Neill's winning a treble, and at his time at Celtic, it hadn't been done since Jock Stein, which is unbelievable, and it shows you how hard it is to win it. But with the financial clout that Celtic now have due to an increased stadium, and by the way, there was at one point that Celtic had the biggest stadium in the UK, in the United Kingdom as an island. And we've now halfway outgrown the current setup, and the feasibility study for the increase in the stadium to make it up to 80,000 still wouldn't make it the biggest stadium in the UK, since Man United unveiled plans to build 100,000 seater stadium. It is the one and only way. You've seen Barcelona do it. Knock down their stadium. Celtic aren't going to knock down their stadium and rebuild. We did that in the 1990s. But there has been a big call for increasing the main stand capacity. Now, could you just build over the top of the main stand, or would you have to completely knock down the main stand and build? I'm sure any architect type people out there would be able to answer that. I'm sure in this day and age it could be built over. There could be another building put over the top of it to increase the size of the stadium. I don't know. I'm not an architect and I'm not an engineer. So with that being said, this game is all about bragging rights this weekend. When we look back to the game in January, Celtic almost got off to the perfect start in that game. They almost got off to the perfect start. And against the run of play, really, in the first 7 minutes, they got a goal, which kind of set the scene for the way that the day was going to go. Because in the 33rd minute, Callum McGregor gets a yellow card. But then when you look at the amount of yellow cards that they got on the day, before half time, they got 2 yellow cards. And then in the second half, Nico Kuhn got a yellow card. And then now that we know that Kyogo Furuhashi was wanting away, does it explain how bad he was on that day? The fact that he was replaced by Adam Ida in the 64th minute. Paulo Bernardo, who is out injured for this game, was taken off in the 64th minute also. On came Luke McCowan, who hasn't been called up for Scotland, and he's bound to be thinking, what do I need to do to get called up to Scotland, to this Scotland squad? Greg Taylor, we spoke about last night, has been dropped from the Scotland squad, but there's good news coming up with our American duo who have been called up, and I'm going to tell you why it's good news that they've been called up, unlike the European games that are just ridiculous. Anyway, Greg Taylor was taken off in the 64th minute for Alex Baye, who has now left Celtic, and he's away playing in Italy. And we've brought in Jeffrey Sloop. And I think Jeffrey Sloop will start the game this weekend. He will definitely start before Greg Taylor. Now, they then got another goal in the 66th minute to make it 2-0. Rio Hatate was taken off for Arne Engels. Rio Hatate, and before people say, you need to stop the Rio Hatate hate, Rio Hatate was posted missing in that game again. He was posted missing in that game. And there has been speculation that Rio Hatate also asked to leave Celtic at the same time as what Kyogo Furuhashi has. And remember, Brendan came out and said, look, we've known that Kyogo wanted to leave for a few months. It's as simple as that. He wanted to go, so be it. Is it this fact that Rio Hatate, the reason that he doesn't perform to his optimum in every game is because he's like, it's only Scottish football, it's shite. You know what I mean? I want to play at the higher level. But when he plays at the higher level, he needs to perform, and this is the games that he needs to perform in. There is no doubt whatsoever that Rio Hatate has world-class passes and moves and points during the game. But there's also no disputing the fact that Rio Hatate, over recent weeks, has had several misplaced passes, lackadaisical in getting back into position. The whole putting his head down and walking like that, for me, is a player that... and old school needs a good bit up the arse, the manager, as you would say. But there's no doubt that he can do it. Arne Engels will start the game. He came on in that game, the 75th minute. And then they go on to score a third goal in the 81st minute. And by that point, Celtic were just all over the place, weren't they? They didn't look like they were going anywhere near it. What does Celtic need to do differently at Celtic Park? They need to come out, the way that they started the game at Ibrox actually, is they come out with pace and speed. They will, when you look at the way that Barry Ferguson, bulk up Barry, used to play his game, there will be a lot of nasty tackles. It will not be an international class game of football. It will not be like watching a European game of football. This will be good old school dirty football by Barry Ferguson. Hard tackles, go in, take him out of the game. If you get a yellow card, so fuck it. It'll be that type of football at Celtic Park. He'll want to make sure that his troops go down fighting. Brendan Rodgers will want to make sure that he wipes the floor with Barry Ferguson and will wipe that smug little smile off his face. And let's face it, the guy that's been on Go Radio for such a long time and been a pundit from afar, talking about everything Celtic when he could do, said that we're miles in front. Well, this is the time that we prove that we are miles in front of that lot, and we show the dominance that we have at Celtic Park. Will it be a close encounter of the third kind? I doubt it. I think that if Celtic show up and play their A game, which, let's be honest, they haven't really been doing in the past couple of weeks. When we got to the end of the season last season, we kind of upped our game a level. I've not seen that this year. But then again, this could be the game at Celtic Park. I mean, the cup game at Hibs, we were dominant. We could have scored a lot more goals. We should have scored a lot more goals. I thought Dyson Maeda was unlucky. How he managed to put that one past the post, I have no idea. I mean, even he'll be looking back at that and says, how the hell did that happen? Callum McGregor, his shot is fantastic shot for the edge of the box. He's expecting that to go in all day long, but the keeper made a fantastic save. We all know that their keeper domestically is ranked rotten. I don't really care about what happens to them this midweek. I believe that they are playing in Europe. Who cares? They're not going to win anything in Europe, let's face it. They're not going to win European competition. And if they do, this will come back to bite me on the bum. It would be funny if they did, though. No, it wouldn't. Not at all. Just fucking forget that. Anyway, let's get on to Cameron Carter Vickers and Big Trusty. The good news is they both have been the dynamic duo. The dynamic duo. Should we call them our dynamic duo? Should we call them our are they Captain Americas for us? Or are they just a couple of really good players? With Cameron Carter Vickers' name getting punted about down south as a potential to go to the likes of Everton. Celtic will do their utmost. Cameron Carter Vickers is going nowhere this summer. Not a chance. Neither is Austin Trusty. I think potentially the reality is I think Celtic may lose 2 first team stars this summer. Only the 2. I don't think. And by when I say first team, I mean starting 11. I mean starting 11. I don't mean the likes of Gustav Lagerbielke and Norobski and players like that. I think that they're more squad players. I think that we may lose 2 first-team starters this summer. And that would be it, maximum. I can't see it being a wholesale change this summer. We don't need to. And Brendan Rodgers will want to say to the board, and he'll say, look, if we want to progress in Europe, we need to keep the nucleus of this team together, the starting 11 together. We can lose 1 or 2 players maximum out that first team, but then we need to bring in real quality to take us to that next level in the Champions League, and that's what it's going to be all about next year again. Now, Brendan Rodgers was always going to be tested this year, and he was always going to be judged as a manager on how he's done in European competition. And for me, he's got pass marks this year. Should we have done a little bit better? 1 or 2 games we could have done a little bit better, but when you look at the draw away to Atalanta, after the absolute demolition by Borussia Dortmund away to Germany, going then away to Italy to change the game that we did, to go that defensive way that we did, and it's shown that Brendan Rodgers wasn't adverse to changing things. Something that the previous manager before him would not have done in European context. He would not have done that in European context. He would never have went as defensive. And I would have feared going to Italy, playing that style of just all-out attacking football. And if they score 5, we'll score 6. It just shows it didn't work like that. But anyway, when it comes back to this weekend, Brendan Rodgers will know this is all about bragging rights. He knows that he has to win this game to shut up the noises from across the city. And let's face it, they've already won the cup this year that says that we beat Celtic once. And it's very unlikely that they'll beat them again. We do have one more game to play them at Ibrox after the split. What do you think the score will be this weekend? Well, Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter Vickers will want to make sure that they go off with a win to America. When they go, will they send back 3 points to America? Got it. Anyway, they'll be going to America and they want to take 3 points in the bag with them for this game. It's just another game that they want to win. They have been both called up for the national team for the CONCACAF Nations League finals, which will take place. They play Panama for the semi-finals. Now, their inclusion may have raised an eyebrow with Celtic fans, but the good news is the game takes place on March the 21st, Friday. So they can fly back over the weekend and then they can start back in training on Monday morning. And they've never been away. So it's absolutely fantastic. When they come back on the Monday, there's still Scotland players that are going to be away with Scotland team. No, there's not. There's only Tony Ralston. There's only Tony Ralston. And will James Forrest be back? And Paulo Bernardo will be back after the international break. Will James Forrest be back? Because we all want James Forrest to score the goal. Will James Forrest be the secret weapon to be unleashed against the Sevconians at Celtic Park this weekend to score one of his usual fantastic goals coming in from the wing? We'll need to wait till the weekend to find out the lineup, obviously. But the good news is for Trusty and Cameron Carter Vickers, as they both look to become the partnership for the USA in the defence. It'd be great for Celtic if they were. Just to have them playing so good together at Celtic Park. I mean, I don't know what the situation was with the United States team, if they do play regular or if it's just Trusty that plays. I sometimes think Cameron Carter Vickers just gets the bench. But anyway, I'm not a big fan of international football, and I definitely don't follow USA international football. Anyway, they play Panama on the Friday, which is fantastic news as far as Celtic fans are concerned, because then it allows them to get back to travel and get ready for the Hearts game, because that's the next big game after that. It is all about winning and continually winning until we bring home the inward bound 55. Yes, we know the South Koreans are watching, and this is the original 55. Not a bot titles 55, not a fake one. Oh, wait a minute, the history books show that we've won 55. Well, the history books will show that we'll win 56 next year, and the history books this year will also show that we're the most successful team in Scotland. So on that note, make sure you give the video a thumbs up and check out the video tonight, 8 PM Celtic Park time, where we talk about the potential lineup for the team this weekend. It is Wednesday. We're at the hump day of the week. Yes, we're over the hill. We're heading down to the weekend. And although the game isn't on until Sunday, I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers and the manager and the backroom staff will be doing a lot of work on the pitch this week to maybe throw in a few spanners into the work tactically for the game this weekend. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.